Hi there everyone, it's Misty here from the Joyful Elf. Happy Friday. Welcome to my very first card for TLC Designs. If you missed my video, I will try to remember to link it on the inslate and in the eye in the sky, but I am a brand ambassador for TLC Designs, and twice a month you will see me use their designs in a video that will be posted here and also on their YouTube channel. So I'm going to have all of their social media linked down below, along with all of the products that I use today. Make sure you head over to their YouTube and subscribe to them. Make sure you've subscribed to me. Make sure that you're still subscribed to me, because that is an issue that creators are having with YouTube. So yeah, so let's head over to my craft table and see what we can create. So I am creating a card today using these two cute dragon stamp sets. Again, all supplies will be linked in the description box down below. I've stamped these with Gina K ink. You see me using my heat tool to dry this ink, and then later you're going to see me bring in an embossing buddy to go over the right dragon. I don't know if it's Gina K ink, I don't know if it's all ink, but sometimes when you go over a Copic friendly ink with a light marker, it either picks up the ink or it tends to smear it. So this is actually the second time I've colored these. So I went ahead and did it that way, and that really seemed to help. So if you're having issues with your ink smearing, I would suggest that you heat it and then use like a powder or something to go over it. I didn't find that I had any issues with my blending when I did that, but it also made sure that I didn't get a bunch of ink on my nib. You'll see me later kind of wipe it off at the top of the paper, but yeah. So I'm doing two dragons today. One is going to be turquoise and purple, and the other one is going to be pink and green. I started this dragon with the purple. I did purple scales, purple wings, and a purple belly. And then the rest of him is going to be turquoise. And then his horns are going to be purple and turquoise. So I initially started doing this with my BG49. But as you'll see in just a minute, it needs to be re-inked. And I didn't realize that. And of course, I didn't buy a BG49 re-inker, so that's on my list. But yeah, so I went ahead and brought in BG07, and you can see I'll write all of the colors at the top for the dragons, and then I'm going to be coloring some balloons. You saw those in the thumbnail, and I will share the colors that I used for those too. So I'm just doing what I normally do, darkest to lightest on both of these. So what I'm going to do is I am going to turn on some music and let you watch me color. If you're not interested in the color, I will put a timestamp here. That way you can fast forward if you want to. But yeah, I had a whole lot of fun coloring these. You guys have seen me color 100 million times, it feels like. So I'll let you relax, watch me color these cute little dragons. And then once we get to the balloons, I'll meet back up with you. So I'm going to bring in the heart balloon stamp, and I'm just testing it on a scrap sheet of paper before I start stamping it. And I'm stamping a ton of these. Um, you'll see later that I have a whole, huge stack of them. So I am coloring these with two colors. So I'm doing a dark and then a light, and then I'm leaving a white highlight. Now, I ended up hating this, so I went back later with a lighter color to fill it in. So for the balloons, again, I'm just doing a dark color like on the left. What is that even called? Like a hump, the left heart hump, and then I go down to just a little bit up the right side, and then I finish that with the lighter color, making sure to leave a white highlight, and then I go back lightest to darkest. So I am doing rainbow colors. So if you're unfamiliar, June is Pride Month for the LGBTQ plus IA plus. I can never remember the acronym correctly, but I wanted to celebrate that. One thing that we're lacking in the crafting community is inclusivity and diversity. And so I wanted to make sure that I help celebrate that because I'm an ally. I have several family members that are on the spectrum, and so I always love and support them. So this isn't a in your face pride card because there's really not a whole lot of supplies out on the market to create that type of card, but it is still one that I want to share my love of my family with. So I am doing Roy G. Biv, of course, and I did a blue and then what I consider indigo. Unfortunately, they ended up looking almost exactly alike, so I ended up skipping. So yeah, and then the last one is a purple. My only complaint with the Copic markers is the purples are so dull, and maybe there's another way to make them. I don't know. I just feel like they're not bright and vibrant. Okay, we're on to the card. So I'm making a slimline card today. This piece of cardstock measures 3 1/8. No, it doesn't. Misty. 3.5 by 8.5. Oh my gosh, brain. And I used the Land and Sea dies, specifically the grass, to cut out a little hill of grass. Then I used the Aztec circle dies to cut out some clouds. So my initial idea was to have him on the ground and the other one in the air, and to have just a pile of hearts around him, etc. But then I decided I wanted them to look like balloons. So in a minute you'll see me bring in some embroidery floss. But first I'm going to go ahead and get my clouds down. I'm doing 3. You guys know I like to work in odds, and later I'll have 9 hearts. So yes. So I wanted the blue and purple one to look like he's flying in the air, and the pink and green one is on the ground. So the pink and green one is letting the balloons up from around him, and the purple and the turquoise one is trying to catch them. So I'm still playing around with placement, where I want them, how I'm going to do this. Honestly, I wish I'd done this right here. If I'd stopped right here and then put some balloons in the air, I probably would have been a happy camper. I do love how this card turned out, but also you guys know how I am. Sometimes I can overthink it. And then I'm like, oh, I really loved my original idea, but I completely messed it up. So yeah, so initially I was using a glue dot to add the embroidery floss. I don't even know if you guys can see the embroidery floss. It's white. Up close you can see it, so when we get to the pictures you'll be able to see it for sure. I'm still filming on a MacBook in iMovie, and it's the tiniest little screen you've ever did see. So it's hard for me. It's hard for me to see from back here to see what you can and cannot see. So I wanted him holding the red balloon. So I had the string go between his arms. And then the one on the ground, of course, is holding the little yellow balloon. And I just used, initially I started with glue dots, like I mentioned, but I moved on to just tape runner. And again, this is just embroidery floss. If you guys saw my Mother's Day card for scrapbookpal.com, where I did the embroidered #1 mom, I had bought a ton of embroidery thread off of Amazon, and I have enough to last me for the rest of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and add string to the back of the the hearts that are going to be on the bottom, but I'm going to bring the string around to the back of the card to adhere it. This is snow cone cardstock, by the way, from MFT, and the green is also from MFT. Hope you guys are doing well. I apologize for not having a video on Wednesday. I don't know what was going on, but my body was going through it this week. I slept almost all day Monday and Tuesday, which isn't like me. I mean, every once in a while I feel like I have to take a nap, but I was like, oh my word, felt awful. So we'll be back hopefully next week. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's a struggle for me not to sit here and say I'm so sorry I didn't have a video, but at the same time, it's like I can only do what my body will let me do, and unfortunately, it didn't want to let me film. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this to a piece of cardstock that I've cut down to 7 by 8.5, and then I've squirted at 3.5. This is some heavy duty cardstock. I believe this is also from MFT. I got in a kit, so it wouldn't lay flat for anything for me. But if you just wear it down, it'll eventually get there. So I wanted to add some sparkle to my dragons because they're magical. And what's really cool is you can kind of see it there. The pen left some really cool texture on both of the dragons. It's really hard to see unless you see it in person, but I was like, man, I really like that. And so initially I was going to make the balloons, all of them have this Nouveau drop and make it thick, but I decided I didn't want to. I just wanted a little bit of shine. So see, you can see here that I added some Copic underneath the dragon. I felt like I needed to ground him somehow, but I ended up not liking it. So I brought in another piece of this green that had been cut with the Langdon sea dye, and I really, really like it now. I do really, really like it now because it feels like he's in a meadow or in the pasture or something like that. Pasture, I grew up on 80 acres, so some land. They're on some land. And yeah, this would also be cute if you had some kites. That would be really fun. But yeah, I really, really love how this card turned out. I decided I wanted to add another orange and another yellow. So I cut them in half, and then I ended up cutting more off the yellow and sticking it in with some adhesive on the back. And that, my friends, is going to be it. I consider it a sentiment, but you guys know how I am. Sometimes I like to leave my cards open-ended. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you. Make sure you head over to the TLC Designs Facebook group. They are starting monthly challenges and you can win a gift certificate to the store. Again, everything will be linked in the description box down below. I love you so much. Thank you so much for all your support. And I will see you Monday for another week of cards. Bye for now.